But first to Victoria. The Labor government has long treated farmers there and people from regional communities like second-class citizens. But I'm happy to report that the country is fighting back. Earlier this week, there was a standoff at a farm in the Wimmera where hundreds of farmers faced off against the Victorian government agency VicGrid. Now, VicGrid has been trying to access dozens of properties in the Wimmera region to conduct ecological surveys ahead of construction of the massive VNI West transmission line. And one of the farms they've tried to access belongs to Ben Duxon. Well, folks, they picked on the wrong guy.
Certainly got the people power on board here. The last 2 weeks has galvanised everyone. I reckon they're going to find it really hard to get past this now. The rest of Australia's looking. The rest of Australia's got high energy prices. AEMO's saying that it's going to be unreliable. Alistair Parker's saying this is a critical project, but we know he's just trying to put the blame onto us. The blame fairly is with the government and the government-induced energy crisis that they're doing at the moment.
The sheep and grain farmer not only refused access to his land, but he led a 400-strong blockade of the property, with hundreds of farmers travelling to Kenya to stand with him. And his message was simple. What are the authorities going to do? Arrest each and every farmer? Duxon said, are they going to fine us all? They're going to need to bring in buses, and there's not enough rooms in jails. That's the sort of pioneering spirit that this country was built on. I'm ready to nominate this bloke as the next Victorian of the Year.
We've got a TCV visit, VicGrid visit, coming to try and compulsory access some lands to do for an environmental study. And as we've been doing for 2 weeks, we're standing at the gate. All the farmers are standing at the gate, resolute together, and saying it's no access and access denied.
VicGrid people have been given access to your property legally, but you're going to stop that today. So what do you think will happen today? They're planning to be here in just a few minutes.
No, we've had it, as I said, for 2 weeks, and they've just come trying to identify the owner and then say they've got the powers in section 93, can we gain access? And we just say access denied, and that's about it. So we're getting some fantastic support out here, and I must say the last 2 weeks the farmer support and you see it growing here today is that everyone's got a lot of pride in their farms out here, and everyone knows that this project is no good for Australia. So I think you combine those things, and then there's a huge support from the rest of Australia coming forward for a grassroots movement like this.
Farmers who travelled from across the state to join the protest at Duxon's farm represent communities that are fed up with the Jacinta Allen government that has too long taken them for granted. And it's clear that Dan Andrews' authoritarian streak is alive and well in his successor, Jacinta Allen. Late in August, the Allen government jammed through legislation that undermines the rights of farmers and other landholders in regional areas. These unjust laws allow officials to use reasonable force to enter whatever property they deem necessary for the construction of giant transmission lines and towers upwards of 80 metres. And if farmers fail to comply, they can be hit with crippling fines. The ill feeling towards these illiberal and inept policies that threaten not only Victoria's energy security but also the rights of landholders cannot be understated. The Victorian government's plan of retiring coal plants and hitting its renewable energy target of 95% by 2035 is the stuff of fantasy, pure fantasy. We're continuously sold the lie that renewables are the cheapest form of energy, even as our energy costs skyrocket due to the transition to unreliable, intermittent and ultimately expensive renewable energy. The Centre for Independent Studies found that the very few countries that have exceeded around 40% renewables, and those that do end up with elevated electricity prices. In their renewable energy honeymoon paper, they concluded that energy policy must be based in engineering and economic reality, not ideology, and that as the proportion of weather-dependent energy, that's solar and wind, in the grid grows, the costs and difficulties of integrating this energy also grow at an increasing rate. The honeymoon ends somewhere between 20% and 30%. The Victorian government wants 95%. Their policies are not only driving up costs and reducing reliability, but they are impinging on the rights of property holders whose taxes prop up the state. When the state gives itself the right to intrude on your land without your permission, it's breaching a fundamental right. Private land rights matter. Victoria's energy mess is entirely self-inflicted, with policies built on the naive fantasy that an advanced, industrialised state can rely almost entirely on intermittent renewables. It's pure ideological madness and it needs to stop. To see farmers risk massive fines to take a stand against this lunacy is a turning point.